Welcome to NewsNet with news and information for pastors and leaders in Washington Conference. I'm Heidi Baumgartner. Chat with us during this webcast. Let us know any questions you have, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Super Typhoon Haiyan tore through central Philippines in early November, flattening entire towns with 195-mile-per-hour sustained winds and a massive storm surge. Since initial emergency relief, Adventist Development and Relief Agency has distributed more than 3,500 food packs and 5,000 shelter tarps. The humanitarian arm of the church has also partnered with other relief organizations to set up water purification systems in areas where clean drinking water is needed. Help those who have lost everything by giving to ADRA today. Your gifts and the gifts of your members will help provide food, emergency relief, medical aid, education, and development assistance for those who need it most. Give at adra.org. Brian Cladusby was elected October 17 as the first Seventh-day Adventist president of the National Congress of American Indians. Cladusby is an elder in the Ferndale, Washington district and a member of Lummi Adventist Company. He is now the 21st elected president of this organization and the first person from his tribe to head up the organization. He has served as the chairman of the Swinomish Indian Senate, the official governing body of the Swinomish Indian tribal community, since 1985. In 2012, he was the top honoree for EcoTrust Indigenous Leadership Award. Cladusby says, "God chooses leaders. I'm a firm believer in that. I give him the credit for allowing me to have an opportunity to do this." The Adventist Church recently held its first retention summit to examine and address why members slip out the back door. The nearly 18 million member Adventist World Church has lost at least 1 in 3 Seventh-day Adventist members in the last 50 years, according to summit organizers. Also in this century, the ratio of people lost versus new converts is 43 per 100. Veteran Adventist Church researcher Monty Saline said the reasons people drop out of church often has less to do with what the church does and its doctrines. Problems in personal lives, such as marital conflict or unemployment, are often reasons why people stop coming to church. The church needs to improve how it helps people through their tough life experiences. Summit Conversation talked about the need for nurturing and caring for members. The Summit recommendation: find ways to sense and respond to the real needs of hurting people. The Washington State Supreme Court recently heard arguments in an important case that seeks to significantly strengthen accommodation rights for workers with religion-based needs. According to Greg Hamilton, Northwest Religious Liberty Association president, this may open a door for the NARLA team to inspire key legislators to sponsor a Washington Workplace Religious Freedom Act, similar to what was successfully approved in Oregon during 2010. Stay abreast of future actions at nrla.com. For many years, pastors wrote letters for members who needed help with Sabbath accommodation at work. There is a new procedure now. Northwest Religious Liberty Association now works directly with members to provide legal letters that are professional and personalized. This is a public service offered by the Adventist Church. If a member in your Pacific Northwest church needs help with Sabbath accommodation, have him or her call Greg Hamilton at 360-857-7040 during normal business hours. If a Spanish translator is needed, arrangements can be made. Washington Conference is preparing for the next constituency session in April 2012. As a part of this process, 4 town hall meetings will be held throughout the conference. This is an opportunity for all members, delegates and non-delegates alike, to come and meet with conference administration. Reports will be shared and questions answered. The 4 locations are Olympia Transformation Life Center on December 2, North Cascade Church in Burlington on December 9, Bremerton Church on December 11, and the Conference Office Auditorium in Federal Way on December 12. Each meeting begins at 7 p.m. Join us in congratulating Linwood on achieving church status on November 16. This congregation is committed to sharing their faith in Jesus in their community. Earlier this year, Linwood members distributed 22,000 copies of the Great Controversy book to 2 zip codes in their community. Belfair Church just celebrated the grand opening of their new church facility on November 23rd. God is working miracles for this congregation as they seek to grow and be shining examples of God's love. In all, Washington Conference has 88 churches, 13 companies, and 9 groups. Remember the Over and Over Again Stewardship Stories? They were printed in 2 books several years ago, and they are now available in digital format at igivesda.org. The volume contains dozens of individual testimonies about how God rewards faithfulness in giving, in Sabbath keeping, in healthful living, and other areas. Particular stories can be reproduced as inserts for your bulletins or newsletters to encourage and inspire your members in faithfulness. Use them as sermon illustrations, children's stories, worship talks, and any other way they may give people hope. We appreciate the NAD responding to the request from the field to provide these resources to aid our ministries. Use them in God's service. Are you receiving Best Practices for Pastors e-newsletters twice a month? If so, you probably saw a few bylines from Washington Conference. Bill Roberts shared his sermon illustration about Ulfbert swords. Lyle Arakaki shared a sermon illustration about gift cards and the gift of salvation from Jesus. Seth Pierce had an article about using QR codes in bulletins, and yours truly contributed an article about 12 ways to take care of yourself during and after a crisis. You are invited to contribute to Best Practices. Write about ministry lessons you've learned, stories you share, and ministry how-tos. Explore past issues and find ministry resources at nadministerial.org. The Ministerial Department is collecting stories and photos from your Reach Seattle Metro meetings. Our Filipino American Church, for example, had a retired gentleman attend their Bible prophecy meetings and decide to be baptized. This gentleman is a pastor trainer who helps Christian pastors locally and abroad. You'll see more stories from the Filipino American Church in the January Gleaner. Let us know how God brought people to your seminar site. Perhaps God has worked through a church member's actions and involvements with a Bible prophecy meeting. Let's celebrate what God is doing in the lives of people. We have 3 upcoming events geared for pastors. The first is a field trip to Alder Grove Adventist Church on December 6 to 7. This congregation in British Columbia is combining innovative community outreach and traditional evangelism to grow their church. The second is the NAD Prayer Conference from January 9 to 12, 2014 in Monterey, California. We have 50 pastors signed up to attend this prayer conference. This event is in place of our annual January pastors meeting. The third event is for both pastors and church leaders. Your congregation can begin the Church Growth Practicum experience on January 24 to 26 at South Center Church. The Practicum series is designed to help a church leadership team plan, develop, implement, and evaluate church ministry plans to grow the church. Keep up with pastoral events on the pastor's resource page. Homecoming Sabbath is in a couple weeks on December 14. We are praying that for your church as it welcomes back family and friends who are no longer attending your church. There's even a sample letter for you to look at on the Homecoming webpage. We are eager to see and hear how you welcome people home for the holidays and hearing your stories about how God is at work in people's lives. As your church is planning its ministry calendar, please reference the conference's ministry calendar for 2014. You'll find key events on the web calendar at washingtonconference.org/calendar and a list of events linked to the homepage. Washington Conference's tithe year-to-date in October is $14 million. We are 1.44% ahead in our tithe compared to where we were last October. Our overall membership is 22,376 people. So far this year, 536 people have joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Western Washington by baptism or profession of faith. The current baptism report is available on the pastor's resource page. Please check to see if all baptisms and professions of faith are reported. We have a few personnel changes to report. Pastor June He accepted a pastoral position with Texas Conference in the Houston area. Marcela Figueroa resigned from her part-time women's ministry position in November. Bruce Koch is transitioning from Seward Park to another assignment in addition to his duties with Stewardship, Family Life, and Adult Sabbath School Ministries. Roland Linhoff is transitioning from Tacoma Southside to a new two-church district, including Seward Park. We covered a lot of topics today. The featured resources, including the October statistical report, are available from the pastor's resource page at washingtonconference.org/resources. Our verse of encouragement comes from Joshua 1 verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Thank you for joining us today. This webcast will be archived for viewing on demand at washingtonconference.org/media. We hope you'll join us for NewsNet on Monday, January 6th. I'm Heidi Baumgartner, and I wish you God's blessings in ministry.